Am I wrong? Potential Fish says, am I wrong for refusing to move in with my long-term GF until our sex life improves? Backstory. So this one may require some backstory to build up to the big argument which happened a few days ago. I, 23 male, have been with my Janine, fake name, 23F, for 8 years now. We began as school sweethearts and have had our ups and downs, but for the most part have been a very happy couple for that whole time. We love each other's families, really enjoy each other's company, and have known for a while we wanted to tie the knot and settle down at some point. Talk of moving in together has been on the cards for a while, but we wanted to stand firm on our plan to buy rather than rent, so we have been saving for years now and are both in a position where we feel as though we can afford a deposit and have enough outside of that to make mortgage payments with both our salaries. Everything feels perfect except for one thing. Our sex life. For the past 2 years this area has been near on non-existent. Initially the sex began to ramp down in frequency at what I thought was natural. Every few days became once a week, but this felt normal. We still live at home, so it can be awkward, but this was what I felt to be natural now for where we were in our relationship. However, as time went on this dwindled more and more, and we are now in the position to having not had sex in 4 months. I have tried to initiate, but I get the cold shoulder so frequently that it has burnt out any wanting for me to try. At first when I questioned this, Janine told me she was feeling a lot of pain. Of course I didn't want to force her into anything, so we stopped then and began looking for ways to help. Initially we believed this to be vaginismus, but over time we realized the symptoms didn't quite match up to what we thought, so kept looking. Well, I kept looking. Janine didn't show any signs of wanting to push to help this. I recommended doctor's appointments, but she disagreed with the need to go to the doctors for this. I mentioned therapy, and she shot this down too. I would research home remedies and she would read what I sent over and disregard it as that won't work for me. Initially with the pain we settled on performing different acts that required no penetration, but this did not last long. She would always turn down advances and blame a particular element of my approach. I came on too strong. I wasn't coming on enough to get her going. I initiated too quickly. I took too long and now she's turned off. It's not spontaneous enough, it's too spontaneous, and I didn't give her enough time to prepare. It's too loud in the house, it's too quiet and well be heard, etc. This really knocked my confidence and made me consider ending things, but every other aspect of our relationship was perfect, so I didn't want to say anything. Anyways, on to the present. The argument. When we first began looking for places I mentioned our sex life and stated that I didn't feel comfortable getting a mortgage together if we didn't have an active sex life, as it would be harder for both of us to deal with at that point. She was taken aback by this, but after discussion agreed we'd keep looking and she would work on becoming more active sexually. That was a year ago. Fast forward to the past few weeks and we realized our finances were in the right place to move. Janine asked what day I would like to go and speak with a mortgage advisor, and I told her I didn't. She was confused and asked what I meant, and I explained as above. In the year I had been saving for this mortgage under the agreement to move in should she work on rebuilding our sex life. In that year she had done nothing and taken no action, even going the 4 months without initiating or engaging with me about this. As said before, I didn't want to force her, but wanted to see some form of effort at being more intimate in our relationship. She stopped kissing me without my initiation in this time also. She has seen 0 doctors in this time for her medical issues and has refused my advances of couples therapy. When I finished explaining, I said our finances are there, but I'm not ready to pursue this next stage together without work on our sex life. She was furious with me and stated that I was holding our future at ransom to have more sex. She stormed out, and I haven't heard from her since, other than a text message telling me she wasn't coming to a dinner date I had planned and to call her when I had decided to not be an asshole anymore. Whilst I feel that my intentions weren't cruel, I now feel like I may be the asshole for building up to this point of building our finances to suddenly halt it like this. I understand her feelings of betrayal, but I just can't move in knowing our sex life is going to continue non-existent. Am I wrong? Bulky Permission 292 says, if you're frustrated without getting laid now, imagine how much worse it's going to be once you're married, have bought a house, and can't get away easily. Also, considering she's made no effort after clear communication, I wouldn't hold out hope that it will improve. This seems like a situation where you can leave and have a good sex life or stay, but by doing so you'll sacrifice your sex life. Potential Fish says, yeah, she never did those efforts from her side. It's better to leave. Agile Weight 7571 says, it ain't gonna get better. The Grand Paganda says, your sex life ain't improving after 8 years. Studio Atsfl says, that's not true. Been married almost 15. Had dry spells for numerous reasons. It's now better and more fulfilling than ever. But it takes work from both parties. If she's unwilling to acknowledge it, I'd be very concerned. That girl you, frick, Ed says. But it takes work from both parties. That's the key to every relationship problem. Lurker the Pip says, woman here, move on. This isn't going to change, because she will do nothing to change it. You as a sexual being deserve a relationship that is healthy and full of fun, happy sex. You two are fundamentally incompatible and there is nothing to be done about that. Biotic Ghoster Benidorm says, another woman here, this has disaster written all over it. We all go through dry spells when sex is the last thing on our minds, but I 100% agree that you're fundamentally incompatible. Mrs. Negativity says, woman as well here. Dump her ASAP. Novale 2024 says, you are not wrong. But you and her are sexually incompatible at this point. Sorry. Uncircumcised Cheese says, it's time to wake up and break up sadly. She's shown you she isn't willing to put forth the effort and she never will. It's best to just end things and heal. Potential Fish says, indeed I tried a lot, but she never did her part. My Precious says, you are not wrong. It would be dumb to add legal complications to this situation. She fundamentally doesn't care that this is a problem for you. That's the deeper problem, and until that's resolved you would be very foolish to buy property together. Though I think at this point you can't trust any improvement, because it's likely to be temporary and once you are locked in, she'll return to her no/low libido and tell you to get over it. Laroy 2007 says, you are in the right here. A dead bedroom is a serious and legitimate concern. Stand your ground, don't let her attempt to shame you into compliance. Start thinking now about what life will be like without her, cause it sounds like she ain't budging on this issue and your only two options are to stay and be unhappy and disrespected or even find someone you're compatible with. It's only going to get worse if you stay and buy a home with this woman. Okie Dog says, please read all of these comments. You just need to end it. You've tried communicating and were met with nothing. This will not improve. Please do not compromise. You've done more than enough of that already. It's going to suck. But it seems like it's sucked for a while now. Better now than later. Potential Fish says, you've done more than enough of that already. That's why I feel more sad now. Please read all of these comments. You just need to end it indeed. Revanchist Exile says, not wrong, it would appear, based on what you said, that this isn't a priority for her. You guys are 23, you're not getting any younger, and if she is like this at 23, what will she be like at 33 or 43? Sex isn't the only part of a healthy relationship, but it's a pretty big part. It's clear that you want to be intimate, and she does not. She doesn't seem to be taking any effort to change this on her end. My advice: it's time to cut your losses. You're young and you seem to have a decent head on your shoulders. Find someone who respects you enough to care about your needs. It seems like she doesn't care. Sorry bro. One Reception 7321 says. 1. Sex life won't improve. 2. Her wanting to make a large financial purchase seems sus. 3. You'll just be sexless in a new house. 4. She won't change if you're getting blamed for coming on too hard or not hard enough. 5. You're 23 and having sex life problems. Nope. Move on or get a throuple. Am I wrong? Heavy Mind 3046 says. For calling it quits on my relationship/family. Me 24 male and my girlfriend 26 female are new parents to a 7-month-old boy. For the last 7 months, our relationship has been inexplicably miserable for me. I'm paying $2,400 a month for rent alone, and my life has completely changed to be able to support my family. All I do is work and spend every dollar I make. My girlfriend and I haven't had sex or done anything sexual in months, and I'm so extremely strapped for cash that I can't take her out and do things like we used to. I'm verbally and physically abused by her nearly every day. I'm screamed at, told I'm a failure, and degraded by this woman who used to be head over heels in love with me. I understand that she is going through a lot watching our boy every day and not having transportation of her own, but nothing excuses the way that I'm treated. She is extremely aloof and ungrateful to everything I'm doing. I don't know how much longer I can endure the abuse from her. She hits me, pulls my hair, downright abuses me, gaslights me, and calls the cops on me regularly, trying to put me away, but nothing works. She's basically begging me to let her go and live 100 miles away with her father and take my son away. The only reason I've been continuing to put up with this misery and abuse is because I love my son and don't want to be away from him. But each passing day, I start to think that I might be happier without them in my life. Am I wrong for letting them go and live hundreds of miles away so I can have my confidence in my life back? I'm still very young. I don't want to settle for this life of misery. Too long. Didn't read. My girlfriend is emotionally, verbally, and physically abusive to me while I'm busting my ass to support her and my son. I'm only putting up with it because her only other option is to live 100 miles away. I don't want to lose my son, but would I be wrong to just let them go and forget about it? Catch the Ganja says. Put cameras up all around the house. Document everything, and I mean everything. And then prepare for a custody battle, because it's inevitably coming. Striking Koala 7761 says. Do you love your child? Let's start there. Because I absolutely agree that you should exit the relationship, as you're right, you don't deserve that treatment. But I don't recommend abandoning your child. Especially if the boy's mum is capable of physical abuse. Do you really want to leave him with this potential reality for his childhood? You're just like your father, a useless failure nobody will love, followed by other abuse. I work in the rail industry, and the first and most important lesson they taught me was always cover your ass. The advice to record and document everything just like the other person said is absolutely sound. If you are going to get out of this legally unscathed, document everything. Realistically, just one time on camera is enough. Record her verbal abuse and make sure you have receipts, so to speak, that speak to your financial responsibility. Also, what are you doing around the home? What are your responsibilities and contributions with your son? Etc. I'm sorry it's turned out this way. Please though, abandon the mum, not your son. I wish you the best. Natural Witchcraft says. Abuse is abuse. If she wasn't abusive before giving birth, then it's possible she might have postpartum psychosis, and she needs help immediately. If she's always been that way, you need to leave and take your son with you. She's not safe for your son. Please save yourself and your son. That ad 5076 says, no one deserves to be abused, and your mental health matters. Your son needs a safe and happy home too. There are resources available to help you navigate custody and co-parenting, even if you're not together. Talking to a lawyer specializing in family law might be a good first step. Nareviel 6677 says, has she been assessed for PPD or worse? Emotional Kitchen 49 says, if you have family support, take yourself to the court, request custody with financial and mental stability, get help and support from family, and take your son, to protect him and yourself from a lifetime misery. She is selfish, mentally and emotionally ill and abusive, so I would hate to see her moods and behavior with your son when you're not around. If she is verbally and physically abusive to you, I would suspect that she loses her patience with your son. Also, maybe, like others said, set up cameras or people to surprise visit or listen out around the house when you work. Good luck. Politicanadian 2 says, sounds like postpartum depression. Here's what I did. I assume you know who her doctor is. Make an appointment with that doctor for just yourself, not her. Tell the doctor what you're experiencing. The doctor should know how to handle it. In my wife's case, at her next appointment he asked some pointed questions, I assume, and she came home with a prescription for antidepressants. Bonus: if you do this, and she refuses to take them / go to her doctor, you can probably use that against her in the divorce / custody arguments. Also, find out if you can record conversations where you live. If it's a one-party jurisdiction you can. Then start recording her aunts. Those will not look good in court. If she refuses to go on meds, talk to a lawyer. Expensive Choice 8240 says, you are absolutely not wrong. This situation sounds incredibly dangerous and unhealthy. Your safety and well-being matter. There are resources to help you get out safely and fight for custody. Please don't hesitate to reach out to a domestic violence hotline or lawyer. You deserve better. Sharp Mathematician 6 says, you need to let her go. The relationship is done. Next time, don't have kids with temporary people. Choni 69 says, no, you are not wrong for considering leaving a situation that is abusive and making you miserable. Your well-being and mental health are important, and being in an abusive relationship is not healthy for you or your son. It's crucial to prioritize your safety and seek support from trusted friends, family, or professionals who can help you navigate this difficult situation. Consider speaking with a lawyer to understand your rights regarding custody and visitation arrangements for your son. Your happiness and peace of mind matter, and taking steps to remove yourself from an abusive environment is not selfish, it's necessary for your own survival and well-being. That's all for this video. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe.